let's just check here. It does say it's recording. So there you go. So we are live and recording. So welcome to everyone. This is the first blab on our Let's Talk Living theme. And it's really about conversations about conquering cancer, a very casual conversation. I'm a colon cancer survivor and a cancer advocate. And my co-host today, as you can see, well, of course, you won't on the replay when you watch the replay, so we have to introduce ourselves. You can see the avatar at the top that this is Gina Costa-Goldfarb. And Gina, say hello and tell a little bit about yourself to our audience.
Sure, absolutely. So hello, everyone, and thank you, Dave, for inviting me here to be your co-host with you today. Very excited about this. So I am, well, initially I was caregiver to my mom, who passed away about 14 years ago to ovarian cancer. Then I became quite an avid fundraiser and very proactive in my own health, going for genetic testing, which ultimately, about 10 years later, led me to the point where my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer. Then a year later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it's quite interesting, you know, that we have this diagnosis, as many of you know. It's a pretty life-altering event. And that ultimately led me to what was my passion, but I wanted to touch people beyond fundraising. And, you know, although I still do it, but touch people to change their lives, not just in raising money for research and a cure, but that ultimately led me to becoming a life coach, focusing in a niche on helping breast cancer survivors or any survivor and caregiver coping with the emotional and physical effects of the experience so that they could gain confidence and control of their lives once again. And, you know, Dave, as you know, there's a lot of emotion that goes through it, and then so many steps to walk through to kind of get to the other side. So we come to a point where we're at change, and then, you know, ultimately we want to get to transition, but there's this whole gap in between where we don't know what or how to navigate. So that's what, you know, a coach does. It helps you get from that change or your diagnosis through the point of transition where you fully accept your cancer journey, as you and I have, and have come to do so in quite a positive way. So, you know, I'm very excited to be doing this work.
And you're really good at it. That's what's exciting. I mean, that's how I met you, by following all the posts that you do and the articles that you write. You're a very active advocate. And as you say, you're a life coach, but with a specialty on the oncology issues that cancer patients are dealing with. And, you know, today's topic, you know, is really around diagnosis. Now what? What do you do? And I thought it was such a great way to begin our weekly blab. We're going to do this every Wednesday at 3:00 and have different topics and bring different guests in to talk about the cancer journey. Some of us don't have a good journey, and I'm one of those. Mine was not expected in terms of the complications and in the near life and death experiences that I had to face. But at the very beginning, I had absolutely no idea what this was all about. And I wanted to take the time today to open up that conversation to people in our audience to talk about often the surprise that you have when you hear those words, "You've got cancer." And you know, when it hit me, I didn't know what that meant. I really had some stereotypic ideas of cancer was a terrible disease, and I certainly felt that I was likely to die from it. And so I went into immediate fear and a lot of questioning of why is this happening to me. And when I reached out, I found in my case that there wasn't much support to help me understand what my journey is going to be like. And it went on for about 18 months. It was a very surprising journey with radiation and chemo and surgeries and all the good stuff that cancer patients go through. But I was alone during that journey. And I don't mean alone. I had family around me that could help me, but they also didn't know what was happening. And so other than saying, hey, Dave, don't worry, you're a strong guy, you'll get through it, I didn't really get the support to deal with not only the medical aspects that I had to decide on, but also the emotional issues that I had to work with. And that's what, as I came through that journey, I became very active in my mind that this is not the way it should go. There should be more readily accessible resources to help the cancer patient deal with all the stages. And now, a couple of years after my surgery, I'm in what they call the survivor stage, and yet I still have issues that I'm struggling with and trying to sort out answers on, and meeting many different kinds of support groups and trying to organize them into one location. And that's what I call findyournewnormal.com. Those of you out there who want to follow what I'm trying to do, just visit that website where I'm trying to do the broadcasts and bring resources in to help people deal with what those issues are. Gina, when you were diagnosed, did you understand it, or were you like me, sort of struggling out there trying to figure out what the heck is about to happen to me? And if you could move your chair just about 6 inches more to the right. Yeah, that's better. There you go. Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, so Dave, and I think, both of our experiences that we have to share personally here are so quite important and moving. So you had, based on what you said, really no knowledge or no, it was, so in addition to getting that, which everybody gets, which I got, that feeling in that feeling because you had no experience or exposure to cancer. So now my experience was so much different. And I love this, that we can both share our unique experiences because it really allows us to work in partnership and to help people in different ways. And I think that's where our common goal comes in. So I had the experience, well, growing up, I had constantly heard the word cancer because my mom was one of 7. And there was always, unfortunately, an aunt or uncle who succumbed, had gotten cancer and was dying of cancer. And I saw my mom, go through these struggles, losing people she loved who had cancer. And then, so fast forward when I was 36 years old, and pregnant at the time, I was her caregiver, and we were kind of at the last stages of her journey. So she was diagnosed with late stage ovarian cancer, and she fought it for about 3 years. And I was her caregiver, went to all her doctor's appointments, was the buffer for her doctors to take the news that she couldn't take, or I didn't feel she could take at the time. Just her eyes and ears, and just there supporting her. And then ultimately, my sister and I decided to bring her home to hospice. So look at the exposure I have so far, right? So then I took that, and as you know, when I lost my mom, I gave birth to my daughter 3 days later, which put me into another arena of, was in this grief-induced postpartum because I had lost my best friend, and I gave birth to this beautiful baby, not knowing, which way to go. So I was in a funk, in a depression for about a year. But then when I came out of that, I took that cancer experience even further. So in order to keep my mother's memory alive, in order to deal with my guilt, and in order to make some sort of an impact, to create awareness on this disease that whispers, that's diagnosed so late, I became very proactive in my own health. I went for genetic testing. I've raised over $100,000 to date for the cause through many organizations like EIF Redline, Run More for Women, Relay for Life locally here. And then I kind of got to a point where I said, I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore. I've been successful at it. And so I did it for about 10 years. And then my sister was diagnosed with breast cancer, a shock to me. I think almost more emotionally shocking for me than it was for her. Because we're just kind of both action-oriented people, so we kind of deal with what we have to. And then a year later, I had my own diagnosis, so much different than you. I had all this exposure to cancer, plus I have been in the self-development, interpersonal development myself for the past 30 years. So, despite the unfortunate experiences that I had, I almost felt very fortunate because I was able to pull on all of the tools that I had based on my cancer experiences with my, just with my mom, with my sister, just all the family stuff through my personal development work. So unlike you, where you were kind of trying to find your way and get the support that you needed, I was able to bring those tools in, and where we come in really to the heading of the show. So I was able to realize that I needed to, stop the doing and really get into well, first of all, get all the support that I needed around me to help me out with this, because I knew I had to, like you say, step back out of my life for about a year. So I knew I had to get support, all the support around me, meaning friends and family and, teachers and administrators from my kids' schools, because I knew based on my experience and what I needed to do to heal was I needed to exercise self-care. So support was the first way that I got that, getting support from everybody around me. And then exercising extreme self-care, which meant, literally removing myself from my work, for long periods of time, and not being the doer that I was, but focusing on, on myself. So, and then, there's some other things that we can talk about. But so for me, I had that exposure to cancer. And
it made a big difference, didn't it? Because you had a familiarity with it. And I think that's what I've been discovering as I've been talking to cancer patients the last couple of years, that every journey is different. Every patient is different. Every experience is different, even though it's all lumped under this thing called cancer. And those in the audience will be turning the webcam on in a minute once we get some of these discussion points out in the air. And if you want to be on camera, there's going to be a circle there that you can just click on and call in. And certainly on the text chat, just put your comments or whatever on the side, and Gina and I will try to answer them. Because this is just a social conversation. This is not a presentation. This is really just a way of starting to introduce this whole topic openly and start to share some information of what at least two people's journeys were like. And hopefully we'll meet you in the audience and you can share what your journey was like. Some of you may be patients. Some of you may be in the survivor stage, and some of you may be caregivers. And each of us in our roles have different issues that we're trying to address. It's a very interesting thing for me, because I thought, oh, well, it was cancer. It was like, you had a heart attack, you had a big problem and they would fix it and you'd move on with your life. And it turned out you don't move on to your life. You create a new normal for your life, because so much of what happens to you changes. And that's why what Gina's talking about in terms of support and what I'm talking about, the need for support, is so important, because we find that you are going to be part of a large group of people in various stages of what they call survivorship. There's 17.5 million survivors right now in North America, and another 3 million active cancer patients every year. And if you take that group and they're surrounded by about 10 support people, family, friends, and so forth, that's another 170 million. So you're talking 250, 300 million people in North America touched by cancer every day. It's a very interesting issue that we're finding happening right now, because it's not just go to the hospital, get treated, and now you're sort of cured and you can move on. You live with cancer all your life. It doesn't go away. It goes maybe into remission. Some of us have lucked out, and we survive without any more cancer interaction, but many of us are dealing with the consequences of cancer, a recurrence of cancer, and sometimes cancer, what they call second cancers, because of the life-saving interventions the medical facilities had given to us. The chemo and radiation have consequences, and they in turn can lead to further cancer. So you live in a constant state of, am I going to have cancer again? When's my next scan? When will I be told what it is that I've got to deal with? And your family doesn't understand that. Certainly in my case, and the other friends that I've talked to, they expected, oh, look, Dave, he's got his weight again. He's eating again. He's happy again. He can get on with his life. And they don't really understand that there's a whole bunch of other issues that I have to cope with and will for the rest of my life. So, it's a problem of how to deal with all of that. And let me just throw it back to Gina for a couple of comments, and then we'll open up the cameras to see if anybody, wants to come in and make your comments known and see if anyone's got answers for you. Back to you, Gina.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many great points that you raised there, Dave. And, also so many different pieces and parts to this where people need help. So, you can help someone initially from diagnosis through the whole journey, but some people, may have gone through chemo and they've managed that okay. And then it's time for surgery to come, and, they have certain fears around that. So they might need help with that. Then, obviously coming out of treatment, as you know, it's like you feel like you're falling off a cliff. So what do I do next? I've had all these doctors and nurses around me and supporting me in this whole circle who's become my family. But now I'm done. And just like you said, so people think you're okay. And it's like, wait a minute, the whole world has stopped here. And what do I do next? How do I transition back into life? So there's so much stuff going on. And really, yes, certainly all about the cancer experience. But as you know, Dave, so many issues that come up that are, just related to life. So as you said, people not understanding me and, making assumptions and interpretations about certain things and how people see us. So, in my work, it's also about going, looking at ourselves and saying, okay, how are we reacting or responding to other people? And how can we do things a little bit differently? So how can I communicate more effectively to communicate directly to people on exactly what it is that I need? So if they're saying, hey, Dave, you look really good, and whatever, let's go out on this, journey that we want to go out on, or a picnic or whatever. And, you might not feel up to that. So it's basically, and sometimes we, as cancer patients, we don't want to express that. We want to kind of protect other people. We don't want to let people in, but it's really about, hey, saying, so, hey, Joe, I really appreciate that invitation, but I'm really not up to it. Or, how about we just go out for a drink and something to eat? So communicating effectively, looking at our relationships, which ones are serving us, which ones are draining us. So again, not only around the cancer experience, but really taking a look at our lives and reassessing our lives and how we want to energetically, move ahead in this experience. So we have choices. We can be in a funk and choose, to go through the whole thing with very low energy, but obviously, that's not conducive to our health. So we have a choice. Well, maybe, I can change my perception around things and put this, put a more positive spin on it. And, that doesn't mean, you're going to be happy every day. Of course, you're going to have bad days through the journey. So when you're having a bad day, take a nap. Don't feel guilty about it. But at the same time, so really looking at your feelings and emotions and, kind of figuring out where they're coming from and just figuring out what's right for you at the time. So if you need a nap, take a nap, and don't feel guilty about it. Don't beat up on yourself about it. And if you're feeling good, accept an invitation to go out and do whatever it is that you really enjoy. And, again, so much of the time when I deal with my clients, they focus on the negative, which is so normal. But so some of the questions that I ask for them or, tell them maybe to journal is, so what gives you pleasure in your life? And, write that down and journal it. And when you're having these funky moments, maybe you go back and take a look at that journal to anchor yourself into those good moments. So it's really about, yes, it's about the cancer experience, but it's really about how we want to show up in life every day and how we can use our strengths and anchor ourselves to those, to those good times, to really use that to be able to move it forward like you and I have in a positive direction. So, you have this passion around getting people help, the ones that don't have resources. And then I'm the person who has, the knowledge to help these people. So we actually turned our cancer experience, into something more positive. And I really think, I'm not going to speak for you, Dave, but I think we really view it as a blessing because we were able to change our lives for the better in this experience.
It is strange because you do get that feeling that cancer was a gift, and very few people understand that. And I could reflect on that in just a minute. I think Susan has joined us. Susan, are you connected? Is your camera on? Is your microphone on? I see you in the quadrant because I don't hear you yet. It says you are on air, but we can't hear you. Up on the top of your browser, if you're using, it has to be Chrome or Firefox. It has to be either of those two browsers. And at the top, you should see right at the top of the browser window, a bar that has a picture of the webcam and the microphone. If you click on that, they should give you, once again, the options to connect them because it's allowing you in, but I don't hear you. And if you can't see that, just refresh your screen and it'll bring you back in and give you the options again. Is there anyone else in the audience while we're waiting for Susan to connect? I think, Lexi, you were there earlier. Are you ready to come on cam? If you are, I'll open up a seat for you. Just put something in the text chat that you'd like to say something to our audience. Lexi represents lumpy cards, and for those of you that don't know lumpy cards, immediately, as soon as this broadcast's over, go to lumpycards.com. And Susan says that she's looking for it. It's at the top, and if not, just refresh your browser window, and it will come back up, and the message will be there. Do I connect my webcam or microphone? And say yes.
And Dave, I just want to jump in for a minute just to make a quick comment. So we're talking about survivors. We use the term survivors and survivorship, but we really want to get to the place where we're thrivers, where we're really, so initially I think we're survivors, and, I still use this term survivorship for myself, but so we want to get to that next level. We want to be thrivers. We want to live our life to its fullest, no matter if we have a wonderful prognosis or if our prognosis is not, that great, but we have choices. So how do we want to live our lives moving forward, no matter what, time period we have left?
I wish you could see the questions in the chat area. We have one long one. We have a visitor here from Morocco, which is kind of interesting, way on the other side of the world, who's joined us. And Chow Yu is asking, is there any cure for cancer? He has, and I can't see what I'm looking at. I keep saying he. Maybe I'll just click on the avatar and see if I can see. Yes, it is a he. It's a male, and is wondering, is there a cure for cancer? And is there any linkage between chemical weapons in Canada? He's living in a war-torn area and lost his mom about a year ago, and his dad is also seems to have cancer, and doesn't seem to be a cure. What do you know, Gina, about cures for cancer in relationship to chemical weapons?
I'm going to probably address that in a very broad way. And obviously, so is there a cure for cancer? Yes, in certain cases, if it's detected early, depending on what type of cancer you have, how aggressive it is. So in some cases, there is a cure. Then, to take it into another category, there's metastatic cancer, which it metastasizes to other areas of the body. In some cases, people don't live very long from that, but in some cases, people just beat the odds and live full out. But so they're not cured, but they're managing their cancer. And I personally believe that mindset has a lot to do with it. I'm not saying that that's the be all and end all of it. And definitely, there's medical and alternative interventions, but the way, so look at some of these people who've been diagnosed with cancer and given 6 months to live. And then you hear stories, so many stories that they live 10, 20, 30 years out. And, so maybe they took a different approach to it. And who knows? Again, I'm not bringing any statistics into here. So, yes, some cancers can be cured. Some cancers can be managed. And, unfortunately, for some cancers, there isn't a cure, but there are definitely treatments to keep, patients comfortable. As far as chemical weapons, obviously, there are so many environmental effects, that have to do with cancer. I mean, there's so many things, genetics, what things that are put into our foods. Obviously, there's so much research out there about what, what's out there that can add to cancer. So I believe there's so many things. I believe stress is involved, definitely environmental, definitely genetics, so many factors. And yet at some point, sometimes it can be so random. So, in some aspect, you could point directly to, the cause of the cancer, but then in some people, there's no history. They haven't been exposed to environments, or maybe it's something, in the foods. There's just so much, I think, to explore in that way. So I don't know if I answered that properly, but, so many factors that go into that.
And certainly the research just carries on. And, certainly I'm not a medical practitioner, so all I know is life experience that I've had with cancer patients. And I've never heard the word, you're cured of cancer. I mean, it is a reaction in your body of cells running amok, regenerating without control, that your system is not dealing, the immune system is not dealing with it properly. And so what you have is some treatment programs that help to reset the body, if you will, until it runs amok again. Once you've got cancer, it tends to metastasize in various different forms and so forth. So that's why they keep asking you to be checked and looked after. And that used to be, hey, for 5 years, we're really worried. Now it seems for 10 years, we're concerned. The outgoing vision of, we don't quite understand what's going on. We see it as a complicated process. We've got some interesting approaches, whether they're holistic approaches, whether they're chemical approaches. They are experimenting and trying to come up with all kinds of approaches to dealing with it. The nice thing that I'm sensing is that you can, as you can see here, 2 survivors can get on to living a new kind of life, living with cancer. and that the fear of it coming back doesn't debilitate you unless you let it. I mean, I was talking to a cancer patient this morning who's still very angry and frustrated and is really not letting it go. They see themselves as a victim. They don't understand why it happened. They don't see any justification. And so they're angry and frustrated and scared. And that's what they're choosing to do with their life. Well, you're looking at two cancer survivors who have the same issues. We don't know what's happening to us. I have complications that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. I still have weekly nurses that come and visit me, but I just accept that into my life. That's the cards that I'm given, that I have to play the best that I can. And if my life ends in just a few days, I want to have enjoyed the few days that I've got. If I'm lucky enough to live a few more years, I want to enjoy those to the best that I can. And I really want to make a difference. It's not trite to say you have a choice. It's a mental issue, and maybe one of the shows will bring on some of the experts on this. But there's so much of what you do in life that is based on how you perceive life, how you're packaging it up, what you're actually interpreting what's happening around you. And hey, I got to tell you, I really enjoyed being taken care of. When I was sick and I had people bringing in food and washing my dishes and cleaning my floors and, being there with coffee and donuts, that was really a nice aspect of my life. Now, it didn't compensate for the chemo, the radiation, the surgeries, the infusions, and all the complications, but it sure was a nice offset. And when I got through a lot of the treatment program, there are days where I would like to play that cancer card and say, this is not a good day. I wish someone would come and bring me some brownies and some coffee. I would like to play that card, but I think people know me well enough that I'm coping now with all that I have and will move the best that I can forward and want to help other cancer patients deal with this because there is a lot of your attitude that comes into your healing process. And again, not a trite saying. It is, in my case and in talking to my medical team, when I changed my mindset, I was going through a period where Dave was a sick guy and someday he's going to get well. That was my picture of myself. And then I changed it to say, maybe I'm a well guy who's trying to get over sickness. I just switched it around. And when I started thinking myself as a well person who was, you've got a guest behind you, when I changed that mental attitude of I'm well and I've got to get rid of the sickness, then I started to take my life in control again. I got back into saying, what am I in charge of? What can I actually do about it? And that changed everything. It was remarkable. My blood chemistry changed, my elements of pain changed, my coping mechanisms changed. Everything went on the upswing when I did a mental shift that I wasn't a sick guy and maybe someday I'm going to get out of this. It was quite astounding. And I mean, within days, it wasn't within weeks. I mean, people saw me on a Saturday and then the next Saturday said, "What happened, Dave? You're acting differently. You look differently." I just changed my mindset. So whether that was just, some kind of magical moment or whether that's true, I recommend that. And I've worked with some cancer patients where they get to that stage and it seems that it makes a big difference. And I'm just looking at Susan. If you still see the button, there you are. I'll click again and see if you can come in and see if it connects to your microphone. If not, just refresh your browser. Just hit the browser button and refresh. And then those little bars will come up saying connect webcam and camera.
Okay, so I've clicked on that.
There we go. You are there.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay,
I can see you. Nice to see you, Susan.
Thank you.
We got a guest beside you.
Yes.
There you go. So join in
Hi,
our
Susan.
conversation, our chat of the day.
Yes, thank you for inviting me.
Thanks
So
for coming.
I've been listening to you, and as you know, I am not a cancer survivor or patient. However, I do write about it a lot, and I will comment on the things I've heard in terms of outcomes.
Yes, please.
Right. So, of the people that I've interviewed and from what I've read, outcomes comes in many different forms. There's the survivorship care outcome after you're done treatment, and of course there's the outcome as you're going through treatment up to the point where you're let go from the hospital. And just like Gina was saying, it's important to always have or try to have a positive outlook on your treatment / diagnoses, because it makes your life better, both when you're in the hospital and post-hospital. It makes your care easier. People want to deal with people who have a good attitude, whether you're in the hospital or post-hospital. People want to deal with people with good attitudes because it actually, in the end, makes you, I think, a happier person, somebody who can actually deal better with a circumstance that's been thrown your way. And I think from what I know and what I've read and who I've talked to, it really does make a big difference.
Oh, and just on that point, to interrupt you, but let you keep going. But that was amazing to me. When I came into hospital, I was aggressive. I was hostile. I was in a terrible state. And surprise, surprise, no one wanted to visit me. No one wanted to be around me. The nurses didn't want to pay any attention to me.
That's right.
And I had come in with presenting diarrhea, extreme diarrhea symptoms. And so they had put me in an isolation area. So I was locked away from the world, and they wouldn't talk to me, wouldn't tell me what was going on. Even after they told me I had cancer, they, and they put me back onto the ward. Yeah. Again, I was still hostile, and everyone stayed away. But the moment I decided to follow and get into the system and listen to the people and be part of the team, the support that I got changed dramatically in the hospital. So I would recommend to everyone watching, I know you're going to be scared. I know you may be angry. I know you may be, hostile and want to lash out. See if you can control that, get it in a way so that people will come to you. Don't push them away, because people are people. Even though they're wearing the stethoscopes and the white coats, they're people. And who wants to be around someone who's angry?
Also, when you're hostile, I don't think you're hearing everything that they're telling you.
That's true.
And so you've already got your mind made up. Oh, this is going to be a terrible journey. This is what I'm going to go through. But if you at least have a more positive attitude going through it, nobody said you're going to be happy, but at least it will open your mind up to hearing what you have to, especially like you. The difference between you and Gina had support people there. They probably heard some of the things that they needed. She may not have heard, where you were by yourself, and so you weren't as apt to probably get everything. So that makes a big difference too, because you have to truly understand what they're telling you, because it isn't easy.
That's for sure. It's a very complicated process. And one of the things I've discovered in my research the last year is that there are some very interesting resources that are out there that I wish I had known about. And I'm going to try and get them on the show and talk to us. One of them is the RN Cancer Guides. And just go to rncancerguides.com. And they are oncology nurses who will work with you through the whole treatment process. They'll be there to help you understand what's going on. They'll look at your results that the doctors are giving you. They'll help you interpret them. They'll be with your family and explain things to them. They'll drive you to your medical appointments. They'll be with you during your surgery and be there when you're going under the knife and coming out. Same with your chemo. I mean, they are there as your nurse. They are your nurse beside you. And some of their services are paid for by health plans and employer benefit plans, but they also take private clients, and they have an RN Cancer Guides Foundation, an angel foundation with donations that are used to help people who can't pay for those services. Mm-hmm. But patient advocates, like nurse navigators, as they're called, I wish I had. I would have done anything to pay for that service. And as I look around throughout North America, I'm finding, there are 300 companies offering what they call patient advocates. And although they are across the board of all the diseases, that I'm finding those that specialize in oncology and are saying, hey, there are people who will work with you. And if you don't have the ability to have that nurse beside you, you can have a virtual lifeline. In fact, go to mylifeline.org. They're one of my favorite support groups. Without them, they were my lifeline during my treatment program. They offer a way to communicate to your family and friends what's going on. It's like a blog. You get to write and share your results, because one of the things I really had a problem with is every day having 10 people saying, hey, Dave, what happened today? What's going on? How are you feeling? I said, boy, I got to just send that out in an email. And I couldn't, but I could do that now in a blog and tell them during the day everything that was happening. And, it was a healing thing for me, because at the beginning when I would write something, I would reread it and said, oh, my goodness, that is so depressing. That'll scare the pants off of people. I can't publish that. And what it did is it let me ventilate my fears and my concerns. And then I rewrote it in a way that people would understand. And then I found that I had a sense of humor that I could wrap around it. And that ventilation and writing process with a sense of humor that I was using to communicate with my friends helped me heal. It was an amazing byproduct of just doing something more than 2 lines in my email that said, feeling fine, hope visit soon. Now I could actually compose a post of everything that was happening, what I was feeling, who I was meeting. I was journaling my event. And mylifeline.org also had a calendar that allowed me to say, oh, I need someone to get me groceries. I need someone to pick me up at the hospital. So my friends could go over there and check off the boxes of who's going to help me. So I really recommend people who are in the journey to get a hold of mylifeline.org. It's free. It's no cost to. It's for cancer patients, run by cancer patients, developed by cancer patients. They understand our world and have developed a system that really is funded through donations and sponsorships and so forth, and would really recommend you have access to that, as well as the National Association of Professional Cancer Coaches. Jeanette's group is developing a qualified oncology support team of cancer coaches that will work with the patient. And I hope Lexi is still there in the audience, because, as I said, she's producing lumpy cards, which are greeting cards for cancer patients with a sense of humor. In fact, I think her tagline is something like, when humor is most inappropriate. And, you can't send a person a get well card. I mean, that's not what a cancer patient wants to receive, nor those helium balloons. Man, that's another part of my horse that I'm riding. Quit bringing get well soon helium balloons to the hospital. That I've seen so many cancer patients, as soon as the visitor leaves, they just take their scissors and smash them. I don't have a cold. I'm not getting well soon. Why are you bringing these helium balloons? And Lumpy Cards is trying to say, hey, here's a greeting card about, whether it's a mastectomy, whether it's colon cancer, whether it's melanoma. There's all kinds of categories with some humor, and you can give that to your loved ones. And I've asked them to see about developing greeting cards for the family, their caregivers, because they're ignored in this whole process. And I don't want to leave today's show without saying somebody should help the caregiver. And, it's so important to remember that they're alone and they have as many fears and issues and anxiety as we do. Hey, Lexi came in.
Lexi,
terrific. There you go. my good friend, a nurse of background, oncology nurse, and went off and decided to help the world with these great greeting cards. Tell us about what you're doing. And she's a star, folks. She was on national TV talk show just a month ago. And she just got engaged. I mean, everything's happening.
Oh my, three for three. There you go.
That's right.
Best week of my life.
There you go. So there's your intro, Lexi. Tell us about Lumpy Cards.
Well, Lumpy Cards was founded when I became an oncology nurse. I noticed that, my mom, ironically, was diagnosed the same day I started my oncology job. And I noticed a lot of the cards that she was getting as a cancer patient were really depressing. And she would get them and be like, I feel like I'm already dead with these cards. Like, these people are, there's so much sympathy and drab. And I would notice the same thing with my patients at the cancer clinic. So I started writing funnier cards and sentiments and showing them to my patients, and they all loved them. And of course, my mom loved them. And I had people saying, like, why don't you start selling these? I want my family to give me cards like these. And so I created a really basic website, and it's come a long way since then. Now it's a business, and I have t-shirts and mugs and some surprise products coming out later this month that are very crude. And it's evolved. So
you're doing some amazing things, and it's all about visibility, letting people know that you're out there, and all should go to lumpycards.com and order them. I mean, it's
Lexi, what are some of the messages in your cards? What did you do?
They range from like Dave said, there's no get well soon, because obviously cancer is you're not going to get well soon. It's not a cold. There's a lot of breast cancer specific cards, because obviously my mom is a breast cancer patient. So a lot of them I designed for that. Because they were,
and some are off color. You've got to be honest. I mean,
a lot of them are off color. There were many cards that they weren't allowed to show on the TV show because it was a daytime TV show. There's a lot of swearing in some of the cards because people.
That's how you feel.
They don't want flowery, pretty pastel stuff. They're like, screw cancer and all these feelings that they have. And surprisingly, the cards with the swear words have been some of my best sellers. Even though they're very plain and basic, the other colorful, pretty cards don't sell as much. So
it's all about how you feel.
It is.
That's a good idea.
Thank you.
And is there going to be something directed to the caregivers? I know you and I have talked about that. Yes. Are you working on that?
I've taken your suggestion very seriously. I'm in the process of designing some of them right now. I should have a couple by the middle of next month. That's
soon now. That's great. Because, as a patient, the attention comes to us, and then we want to do something to thank all the other people that are helping us. And, what can you do, to say thank you? And, a lumpy card is something that I certainly would want to do. I don't want to receive the fruit baskets anymore from visitors because you can't eat the fruit. You give it away. I'd rather get the $150 to go hire my nurse navigator to walk me through the problems, find useful ways that caregivers can spend their money that helps me on my journey. But lumpy cards are not expensive. They're like any other greeting card, but they are good quality and certainly put a smile on the face of the patient, which is what Lexi's all about.
Thank you, Dave.
Hey, my pleasure. You come to the show every week and tell the world about lumpy cards. You're one of our family now.
Thank you, Dave.
That's right. Yeah. Well, it's such an interesting topic that there's a lot of places that you can go for medical information. There's a lot of sites for tech support, but there isn't sort of this live chat. As far as I know, we're breaking ground here of just bringing people in to talk about it on a theme. And as I say, we'll bring some oncology experts in who will help us get more factual than just our subjective judgments. But today's was, well, you're diagnosed, what's next? And certainly you have to understand that it's a unique journey for every patient. And as you saw, Gina had a different journey than I do, and a lumpy card has to be a part of the mix. It should just come, you get the diagnosis paper and you get a lumpy card. In fact, why not they put the diagnosis inside the lumpy card, and some of the yin and the yang, balance it off. There's a good way of using it. I'm monopolizing things, Gina. Just jump in. This is just come into our conversation.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is absolutely great, and so much that you're bringing.
Oh, you're breaking up. You might want to refresh your browser and come back in. Yes, your audio's breaking up, and your signal is. Yes, it's so difficult for those who joined us late. Gina's got her computer totally reversed. She's got a monitor that twists around, and she couldn't twist it. So she's just moving her whole computer. She can't see the screen. She can't see us. She can't see the text chat. Her microphone's on the other side. And she's been trying to be technology hobbled and yet still participate in the group. She's a real trooper and managing. Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to be on cam? Gina's coming back, and
got me back.
Let's see if her audio is better. Yep, now she has to turn it all the way around again. Susan, you might tell people that you're doing a lot of writing, and that one of your distribution vehicles is the Anti-Cancer Club. Wouldn't that be a good place that patients who are diagnosed should go to get information?
Mm-hmm. Sure. So I'm the content director for the Anti-Cancer Club, and our mission is to help establish a blueprint for cancer patients, cancer survivors, and their family and caregivers to get them down the road from diagnosis through the end of their journey. And we certainly work on, we have categories called food and flavor, which actually promotes a healthy lifestyle, healthy eating, based on we call an anti-cancer diet. And it's not just for cancer people, but it can be for everyone to eat healthy. But certainly it does give sort of a help to people who have been going through cancer treatment. For example, we have people, a couple of our chefs who write for us, have sort of go-to foods that you can take with you when you're actually going through treatment, so that if you have trouble chewing or eating, or you feel nauseous, there's certain foods and recipes that they've written. Then we also have the exercise part, and as a cancer patient and survivor, coming off of different medications, it's difficult for you to do certain exercises, and you may not have a good range of motion and other things. So we have that, and we also have a mind-body category. And the mind-body category is about the yoga, the meditation, and what we do is we try to have people come on and write for us to get people through, like using meditation, getting them through those really difficult times in the hospital when you first go home, and then continuing for months after. So we have a variety of people. For example, I interviewed a woman who's right near me who's a certified cancer coach, exercise coach, and she actually does it every day. She said it's the best job she's ever had in her life. She really feels like she's making a difference to people. So
in
yes,
all the writings that you've been doing, did you? We have a mail-in. We have a mailbag for the show already, and people were sending in some questions that they wanted answered. And one of them was, do you recommend a whole food, plant-based diet? And I don't know much about nutrition. I was hoping that one of the people from NAPCC would come on, but they'll be watching the replay, so I'm sure they'll get me a nutrition's expert answer to should cancer patients have whole food, plant-based diets. Do you have any articles on that topic that I
yes.
can? Yeah?
That is our anti-cancer diet. It's whole food, clean lifestyle, plant-based foods. nothing processed. And
well, that's what that plant-based is.
Exactly. It's just like you took a plant out of the ground and you're going to cook it that night and eat it. It's really essentially plant-based. This means you don't want to take anything that's been processed. That's not healthy for you. It has too many sugars. It's anything that's processed all the good things have been processed out of it. A lot of sugar's been added, a lot of additives and so forth. So if you look, for example, if you look at a label on let's say, for example, along the aisles that aren't in the produce area, you'll see a ton of different ingredients in those labels. And honestly, most of them are all chemicals, things that you probably don't want to have in your mouth. So
again, that should be another expert we bring on talking about plant food diets. I mean, I guess that's the superfood stuff. That's the kale smoothies.
It's the best foods for you. Yes, it's the best foods. There's nothing. Yeah, exactly. There's nothing processed about them. Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if I can adjust my diet. You see, and there's a good example of the need for a coach, because you get the information. My dietitians I'm a colon cancer guy, so I'm supposed to change my diet. And they educated me, taught me. I could write it out, but I haven't changed my behavior yet. And I need a coach who's going to work with me and say, yes, this is what you need to do. And that's the thing that I was surprised, is that there's a lot of lifestyle changes that have to be made to survive. And, you know, you want to do things the way you used to do, and to get rid of those old habits and move forward is difficult. And so,
well, the one good thing about plant-based is that there's no, generally speaking, you're not eating anything that causes inflammation. And with sugar, which is in almost every single thing that you buy, whether you're buying something with sugar or not, if you look on the label or the ingredient, you're going to see sugars. And every time you eat a sugar, when it's not a plant-based sugar, like from a piece of fruit, it's going to cause inflammation. Inflammation is not good for your body.
So there's a lumpy card topic. Have we got anything on eating food? I can just see the words I would write on that card.
You know, that's a really good idea. I don't have a card like that. I'll have to think of something.
Yeah, it's great. There's a lot of stuff out there on it. But yeah, I mean, just anything that's bad for you. It's not something you should eat.
Well, I mean, it's an ongoing journey. In fact, one of the questions in the audience was from one of our guests who was saying that a friend has gone back into, had 3 years of remission, and had a positive outlook, and now shocked to discover that cancer has returned. And, you know, now they're in a really negative state of mind, which is natural. Oh, my goodness, I've got to go through this again. And that's an interesting thing, where you don't get into just one, diagnosis, resolve it, and then it's over. It turns out that you end out with many different things that can happen over the journey. And you can, you know, be positive and figure everything's okay, but you live in this fear of remission or fear of second cancers. And the sort of Damocles lives over your head. So how do you regain your sense of positivity? How do you get a new normal? And that's what I hope will come out as we bring the guests in and these kinds of questions come up. I believe the window is open. There's 4 windows for those new people joining us that you can just click on the call in or open seat button and just join in the conversation, because I'm trying to read the text chat and watch what everyone's doing here. We lost Gina. She will probably come back. She is having technical problems over there. But it's been a fun blab for our first one, talking about a lot of different topics. And I'm surprised at how easy the technology is. You know, once you know how it works, it just press some buttons and tell a little bird, allows you to tweet out to your user group, your Twitter universe, that this blab is on. And they're so easy to put on. It become addictive. I don't know. Have you, Susan or Lexi, been on Blab before? You get addicted to them.
My first time.
Topics.
No, I haven't been.
Yeah, I've stopped watching TV. There's nothing on that I like, so I just turn on my laptop and every topic from cooking shows to exercise shows to model railroad shows to social media to you name the topic. There are just hundreds of people that are doing what we're just blabbing and getting an audience to come on in.
And I see it's a Twitter product, right?
Well, it's connected to Twitter. It's owned by Bebo. They're a separate group, but they decided that since the Twitter universe likes to tweet all the time and are living by their smartphones with all of the information, why not connect a video conferencing capability into it? And this is a third party who says, great, let's use the Twitter universe to broadcast and bring people in. Because even if you don't have a Twitter account, it's no difficulty. I mean, put your name and email, and you got a Twitter account. You can get fancy, put a profile, a picture, and all that, but you can watch anything. You just can't be on camera or text chat unless you've got a Twitter account. So the integration between the two has certainly, as everyone knows, I use Google Hangouts a lot, and that's great for the privacy and the presentation and the slide sharing and all that goes with it. I just love doing my Google Hangouts, but then use Blab as an after show hangout. Okay, here's the presentation. Let's all get together and talk about what we talked about. And finding that that's a really great way of integrating Blab, or doing like we're doing today, just to talk, free talk on a topic and just seeing where it goes. It's like a radio talk-in show where the moderator says, here's today's topic, phone lines are open, who wants to make a comment about it? And that's what I'm finding this can be, is something that allows you to just freely at any time. And you'll be amazed, Susan and Lexi, if you ever want to do one of these, just go over, and the steps are hit the start button, put in the title, put in the tags and the time, and press publish, and it's done. That's it. That's how hard it is.
It's easy. Even I can do that.
Or just people search those tags and they come to you automatically.
Well, there's a group of tags that are already there that you just click on 3 of those so that it can be broadcasted out. So the hard thing is to think of a title and a time. And then it's scheduled in your account. And then you tweet it out. Hey, this is what you want to do. Come and visit me at such and such a time. And as you can see up on the top left-hand corner, there's Tell Little Bird. You just click on that, and it composes a tweet for you if you don't want to type your own tweet, and sends it all out. But it's so simple. And then you start following everybody. All the little icons, the avatars at the top of the screen right now show you all the people who have been watching us. We've had 68 people in on this session. I'm lucky to get 6 people into my Hangout, and here we've got 68 people, who bopped in today. And they click on their avatar, and you'll see their profile, and then you can follow them or follow them on tweet. So easy to do. It's great. But we're starting to lose people because we're past the hour, and people are leaving. And that's one of the things, you get on a topic. I've been on some that have gone 4 hours. They just go on and on and on as different people come in and the topic changes. And so you move off. It's like a cocktail party, wandering around the room and meeting different groups of people.
So are these conversations that are just going on, and then you just come in and out of them? That's pretty interesting. Does it have to do with cancer?
Here,
Are there anything to do with cancer?
We're the only ones that I found so far talking about cancer. Okay. There's a couple on well-being and on holistic health. And you just, when you finish, just go over to the blab.im homepage and look at all the blabs that are scheduled, and then look at all the replays. So there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of replays. So what's your interest? You go over there. And for people like you, Susan, who are writers, those are all kinds of contacts for you. There are all kinds of people who have topics that you might want to highlight in the various magazines that you write for. But it's addictive. As I say, you get on to these topics, and as long as the conversation's flowing, some are boring, and some. It's public, you remember, so anyone can come on. I had someone on a blab last week who came in nude, and I had to, click them out pretty fast, but everyone got flashed for a bit, and you have to be aware that this is a public channel. There's no security, and nor will they be. They see this as a open conversation platform. No controls other than you can click people in and out. So it's and it's only been here for 2 months. I mean, it's a brand new platform. It's very, very different. Here comes someone. Let's see what Nazim and Betty have to say.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and log off and let some new people come on and change the conversation.
Yes.
So.
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry I'm in bed because it's way late over here. But I was just wondering, is this going to be a regular show?
Yeah, we're going to do this every Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Fantastic, because the topic is very important.
Well, it's one that, I'm a cancer survivor. Gina, you might have seen earlier, is a cancer survivor, and we're bringing people in Susan's here, and she writes about cancer issues, and we'll bring guests in on various topics and just chat about them and see if it's a benefit.
Super happy.
Are you the Nazim that I met on the Chef Dennis show?
That's correct.
There you go. See, I know you from the Google Hangout world. Now you can come over to the Blab world.
We've all come over here because it's way easier.
Isn't it though? It's so simple.
I still love Hangouts.
I can't lose them.
The more instruments we have, the better it is. Yeah. But this one is connected with Twitter, so you have a lot of more new people, different type of people. But this subject is super important. The title caught me immediately.
Well, thank you for popping in and spread the word. We'll do it every week and have a new thing to talk about.
Dave, are you going to have it the same time each week? So
yeah, it's going to be a regular thing, so people can just book it in their calendars at 3 o'clock on Thursday or Wednesdays Eastern time.
Please ping me on it because I'll definitely want to join up.
I sure will.
Take care, everybody.
Good.
Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, Dave, I'm going to move
along. It's amazing. People all around the world. I mean, Nazim, I think, is in Italy, if I recall properly, and we've had someone in from Morocco, and it's an international connections. People are Milan. There he is. So there you go. So
this is great.
Alexandra, are you a previvor? There's a new term. You'll have to tell us more about what previvorship is all about. It's you either got to come in or you can come in the next week's show. But I'll have to do some research on that. Okay, she's going to pop in.
Oh, hi. Hold on, I forgot that I have my camera turned off.
Okay, turn it back on.
I'll go.
Sure. Well, as she said in her picture, keep calm and feel your boobies. I think that's a good idea. Here she comes.
Is it working now? Okay. Hi.
There you are. You're back in.
So I'll tell you real quick. I just got up from a nap. I have a migraine today.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, previvor is a word that most people don't know. That's why I wanted to take the opportunity to tell you about it. It's a name that was coined by an organization for women who have the preventative surgeries for breast cancer.
Oh.
So I chose to have my breasts moved prophylactically.
Oh, okay.
Because of my risk.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a big discussion going on right now.
Yeah. Do you have the BRCA gene or?
So what they haven't figured out is exactly which gene. We're still in the testing process of that, but because of my family history, it was one of those things where as soon as I tested negative for the like 3 or 4 major, most well-known genes, they said, we have to just assume that there's a gene out there that we haven't figured out yet. Mm-hmm. That was in 2011. And since then, I mean, the list is insane of how many genes they've actually found since then. So we're still in the process of testing for them. But for me, it was a no-brainer, you know. I'm plug in my headphones. Hold on.
Oh, no problem. No.
I don't want like echo or anything. So,
oh, you're an experienced blabber. You know about echo.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I was in the hangout world for a little while, but not anything like professional like you guys do. We were just hanging out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so it was a decision that I made for my family, basically, you know, for my husband and my children, because the way I looked at it is if there was something I could do that would drastically reduce my risks of ever having to put them through watching me go through what I've seen my loved ones go through, then that was a small sacrifice.
Yeah.
So it's been a tough road.
How long ago was the surgery?
My original surgery was in September of 2011. And I had complication after complication after complication. And I've had, I've lost track. I think I just had my 11th surgery.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I had 10 surgeries between September 2011 and September 2012.
Wow.
And I took that, how many years, like 2 or almost 3 years before I had another one, because I was just scared that something else would go wrong, you know, and it was kind of more of like elective this time than previously. And so, yeah, so it's been a tough road, not anything like what I originally thought it was going to be.
It's a surprise. So much of this journey is a surprise, and we've got to have you on a show on just that topic.
I would love to, because I would love to spread the awareness of previvors, because it's something people don't realize. I mean, Angelina Jolie kind of brought it into the spotlight a little bit, and people like her. But still, so many people don't like really understand and don't.
Well, you were years ahead of her. This is a new phenomenon.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
this was a different issue in 2011.
Well, in 2011, I was telling some of my friends that it's like, I knew I wanted to do it, but I really wanted to. I searched for blogs. I wanted to read somebody's story. I wanted to read it in someone's words, what they went through, what their emotions were, like them describing pain. I wanted to read it, not just like these medical websites. I wanted to hear it from somebody. And there was like really nobody out there that was blogging about it or anything. And so then I found one woman's blog, but she was this young, healthy, vibrant young woman whose surgeries went perfectly and everything was fine. So I went into this thinking this is going to be easy. And so since then, I'm part of an online support group and all that, where, you know, I've now see the more realistic side of it. And I'm able to share my story, not to scare people, but for them to realize this might not go as smoothly as you plan, because the reality needs to be there. Just like with, you know, cancer patients, you know, I mean, not everybody's story is the same.
That's correct.
So I'm in the process now of, you know, I'm at the tail end of this, and I've had all the surgeries. I still have 1 or 2 more surgeries to go, and then I'm actually getting ready to do a fundraiser for my tattoos. I'm going to tattoo over my scars. I'm not just the nipple tattooing, but I want to cover my scars, because my scars are pretty extensive. And to me, like, I've actually been diagnosed with PTSD because of it. You know, I can't,
of course you would, yeah. I
can't look at myself without the physical, like, clamminess and my heart racing and my stomach getting nauseous and all those things. So I want to cover my scars with beautiful artwork.
Did you see that study with all the different pictures that were done? I mean, it was just beautiful artwork, and the report that the woman had a real self-confidence issue until that was done, and now she was so proud that she was like a piece of art, and it would just show the tattoos to all of her friends. You go to the gym and say, and everyone would say, "Can you show me? Can you show me?" You know, it was amazing recovery of what a tattoo could do. I mean, it just blew me. You've got to come on to the show. I
would love to. It's something that I hold dear to my heart, like spreading awareness about, you know, women like myself, because like I said, even though it has been brought into the spotlight more recently, so many people still don't get it, because she was still pretty private. She gave some details, but she, you know, she hasn't talked about what it was like. And I'm sure for her, she probably had she had the best doctors.
Oh, sure. Private clinic. I saw the interview that you had.
Pink Lotus Clinic.
Ribbon or Pink Lotus.
Pink Lotus Clinic, yep.
Yeah.
I would love to go to the Pink Lotus Clinic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. A little out of a lot of people's reach.
Yes.
It's a different kind of world. Send me a note at dave@findyournewnormal.com.
Okay.
Or
Dave
tweet me so that I got it.
Okay.
dave@findyournewnormal.com, or just, you know, click me here and we'll connect and we'll talk, and then you know, we can do a topic on this. This would be really great.
Yeah, if you're interested, I write for a website, for cancer website. I'd be happy to interview you, and you can get out the word on that as well if you'd like.
That would be great.
That's another blog. That's another blog, because you're right. I don't really see many blogs on pre-virus at all.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's still, you know, I mean, it's still something that, I mean, and more and more people are now having the surgeries. It's something that, you know, I think it just, because for me, it was like one of those things, like I said, it was a small sacrifice, even though it was a huge sacrifice in the end. People always ask me, even after going through all these surgeries, would you do it again? And my answer is always absolutely yes, because the end result is still the same. You know, my risk was like, I need to pull out my paperwork, but I know it was over 60%. The average woman's lifetime risk is around 12. Mine was over 60. And then after the surgery, it's less than 5.
Wow.
So it's like, I mean, of course, like, to me, it's a no-brainer, you know?
Of course.
Sounds like you did. Sounds like you did a good thing.
Yes. We'll get you on the show. I don't know if Gina is still there. If you are, Gina, say so in the text chat, or come back in on the camera to say goodbye. But Gina, you should meet Miss Alexandra.
Yes.
Well, as a mastectomy survivor, the two of you have got things to share. So make sure you tweet to Gina. Okay. And she was having technical trouble, so I think we lost her.
So I did see her pop up briefly. I remember seeing. Well,
if you watch the replay, she was at the beginning talking about. I am going to
watch the replay for sure. And tell me again what your email was.
Dave@findyournewnormal.com.
Awesome. Find your new normal. All right.
Yep.
Dave, thank you for starting this. It's an excellent thing.
Yeah,
we'll just see how it goes. We had 82 people who've popped in, so that indicates there's some audience that, and we haven't done any promotion about it. So,
and it is a great, like, I do like this platform for that reason, because you do get random people that pop in and out. Yeah. You're going to get the trolls, and you've been flashed already. So, I mean, you're going to get all that, but you still have that opportunity to get someone in here and have someone stay, you know? So it is a cool platform for that. So anyway,
we'll learn how to use it, and we'll try to, get people to have comments, over on the side, so we know what people are doing, and then invite them in to be on camera. So I think there's, we just have to learn how to use it and build an audience and see where she goes. But I think we're starting something this week, and we'll just keep up moving along.
Yeah, I just saw 3 new people join us, so they're probably going to be expecting this to be on. So maybe Dave, you should stay on for another hour.
Those two of the people came in here. They know me, so I don't know if that's.
Oh, that's why. Yeah.
But you said Wednesdays at 3.
Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm in California, but I will.
So you could have lunch with us.
Yes, I will definitely. That's a good time of day for me, because my house is quiet. The kids are at school, and so that's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good.
Well, Danny from LA wants to come in. So we'll have one more guest, since please, do you know Danny from LA?
Yeah, I don't. Danny, if you're going to come on and start trouble, then don't come on. But
don't come on.
Oh, no, he wants to come over to my house. That's great. Okay.
Oh, he wants to come to you. Okay,
yeah.
So
I've got some trolls, so hopefully we'll avoid them in the future.
Yes, please. But anyways, thanks for coming in, and we'll see everybody next week.
Thank you.
At 3 p.m.
Okay.
That's wonderful.
Bye.
Bye-bye now. And Gina, if you're still there, you can come back in, but you're probably not. So I'll stop the recording, and that'll be that. See if we can stop the recording.